Hurry-paced life, invisible race. The clock keeps ticking. I don't know about you, but I grew up with invisible clocks ticking. Not the old wall clocks that my grandfather used to hang on his wall, but the clocks that society wore on its wrists, urgent, hurried, and always on the go. I remember the first time I felt like I was being left behind. It wasn't some huge failure or a painful event. It was just, I opened Instagram and saw that a classmate from middle school had just gotten a promotion at a prestigious company. He was smiling brightly in the suit. The caption proudly read, "At 25, nothing is impossible." I was 25, but I had nothing to brag about. And so, in that moment, I felt slow. Like I was walking in the middle of a freeway where everyone else was going 75 miles per hour. I didn't fall, but I stood still. And that was enough to make me feel lost. Clicks that remind you you're slowing down. Every day, I wake up to a screen full of notifications. This person is getting married. That person is having a baby. An old friend is starting a successful business. The junior is getting a full scholarship. Everyone is moving forward. And I am just trying to catch my breath. Somehow, success has stopped being a dream, grows naturally in people's hearts. It has become an underground race, where anyone who is slower is automatically considered a failure. Worse, it is an invisible yardstick that you use to judge yourself. I started asking myself, why haven't I achieved anything yet? Why am I still living on a living wage? Why don't I have a story to be proud of? Those questions didn't come from me, but from what I saw every day. Social media never shows you the failures, tears, or sleepless nights of others. It just shows off the shimmering highlights, the brightly colored peaks. And then you, in the middle of your hazy journey, wonder if you're going the wrong way. I started running, not knowing why. I started setting goals. Not because I really wanted to, but because I felt like I had to. Had to learn more. Had to work more. Had to have something to post online. I threw myself into online courses, rewrote my resume over and over again, applied to every cool job on LinkedIn. When no one was pushing me, I was the one holding the whip. I didn't give myself a break. I didn't let myself slow down. I told myself, if I just try a little harder, I'll catch up. But catch up with who? What was the goal? I didn't know. I just saw everyone running around me, and I was afraid of being left behind. The peak creeps in. At first, there was insomnia. I lay awake thinking about not doing it. Then came headaches, exhaustion. I lost interest in the things that used to make me happy. I no longer found meaning in my work. I started procrastinating. Not because I was lazy, but because I had run out of energy. But then I blamed myself. A vicious cycle. Tired, procrastinate, guilt, trying too hard, tired. I gradually drifted away from myself. I no longer knew who I was, what I liked, or what I really wanted. I just saw myself as someone struggling in a sea of people running, and no one looked back. Meeting with yourself, beginning. One day, no makeup, no morning coffee, no smile, just a pair of tired eyes. I used to be someone who loved to read books, loved to listen to the rain, loved to sit quietly looking at the lake. But lately, I don't do any of those things, because I think those things don't bring value. Don't need money, don't achieve anything, don't help me go faster. I traded my peace for a race without a destination. And that day, for the first time in a long time, I sat down and did nothing. No social media scrolling. No emails answering. No thoughts of must-dos. Just breathing. Just feeling. Just listening to the little sounds. The fan whirring. The birds chirping outside the window. The sound of my heart sighing in relief. Conclusion for a chapter, opening. I don't know where you are in your journey. Maybe you're running too. Maybe you're tired too. Maybe you feel like you're going too slow in a fast-paced world. I just want you to know, it's okay. It's okay to have nothing to brag about. It's okay to feel slow. It's okay to need to stop. Because your journey doesn't have to be like anyone else's. Your pace is your gift. And self-acceptance is the first step to becoming your own friend again. The power of self-acceptance. Realize the simple yet profound truth. I don't remember the exact moment that changed my perception, but one day, while mindlessly scrolling through videos, I stopped at a very gentle sentence. Everyone has their own rhythm in life. And that's okay. At that moment,
I felt my heart soften. It's like when you're lost and someone puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "It's okay, keep going, this road will lead to the destination." I used to think that I had to speed up, that I needed to catch up with the milestones set by society. 25 years old with a career, 28 years old with a family, 30 years old with everything settled. But then I realized, those were just milestones that someone had accidentally drawn, not on the real map of my life. From the outside in. One of the biggest changes in my journey was shifting my focus from the outside to the inside. Instead of asking, "What do people think of me? Am I being left out? How do others judge me?" I started asking, "How do I feel when I do this? Does it make me happy? Am I being true to myself?" It wasn't easy. I'd lived for so long in the eyes of others that coming back to myself was like relearning a forgotten language. But little by little, I began to listen more, to the small joys of making a cup of tea, to the sadness of not achieving what I expected, to the peace of not having to force myself to pretend to be okay. My own journey, and yours too. I began to understand that life is not a race, but a journey of discovery. And the funny thing is, no one has the same path as you. Someone else might get married at 27. I might get married at 37. Someone else became successful at a young age. I might spend years of trial and error before I find what I truly love. There is no such thing as right. There is no such thing as late. Everyone gets there in their own way, as long as you keep going. Being slow doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're living at your own pace. And that's the most beautiful thing. Celebrate the little things. I used to ignore things I could do if they weren't big enough. I used to think, finish a short article? That's normal. Wake up early for a week straight? Anyone can do it. Refuse a toxic relationship? No one cares. But then I realized, it's those little things that are the foundation for confidence and self-esteem. I started to write down the things I could do every day, no matter how small. One day I walked for 20 minutes. One day I didn't compare myself to others. One day I smiled at myself in the mirror. And little by little, I saw myself changing. No longer being harsh. No longer being cold to myself. I started to love myself. Self-compassion, a soft power. People often say be kind to others. But you know, sometimes the person who needs kindness the most is you. I learned to say things to myself like, "It's okay, I tried. I deserve a break." You don't have to be perfect, as long as you're sincere. Those words at first may sound weak, but they give me a quiet strength, the strength to get up after every fall, to continue on my journey without having to prove anything to anyone. Conclusion. Every step counts. Self-acceptance is not about compromise. It is about embracing yourself, all that you have accomplished, all that you haven't done, all that you haven't done. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to be fast to be accepted. And you don't have to be like anyone else to be valuable. Because your journey, your pace. And when you begin to accept yourself, you will see, you are not slow. You are alive, truly, fully, and gently. Find your own rhythm. Values and passions, guiding your own path. After learning to accept myself, I began to delve deeper into an important question. What really makes me feel alive? Not what others admire, not what pays well, but what makes me feel like myself. I took a pen and paper and wrote down everything that had made me happy as a child. Drawing, writing, listening to others, helping someone. Then I looked back at the moments when I felt myself shining, when I told a story, when I wrote a passage that moved me. When I did something not because of external expectations, but because of internal beliefs. From there, I began to piece together each piece, like looking for glowing stones in the forest, to piece together the path that was best for us. Uniqueness is what makes you valuable. There was a time when I tried to follow others because I thought they were more on the right track. But then I discovered, everyone has a different blueprint.
You be the Nordborn to the Jakob.
You are unique. The differences, the things that seem out of the norm, are the most valuable parts of you. Some people are good at analyzing. Some people are good at feeling. Some people dream big. Some people live slowly. No one is the same. And thanks to that, the world is rich. When I began to appreciate the differences in myself, I no longer felt out of place.
I saw myself as an irreplaceable piece, even though I was not like anyone else. Redefine success your way. I used to think success was something big, getting a promotion, buying a house, being famous. But then I realized that if I only relied on other people's definitions, I would always feel inadequate. I started asking myself, what is success to me? Is it living a simple but meaningful life? Is it having time with my family every day? Is it waking up every morning and feeling at peace? When I defined success in terms of what made me happy, the pressure was gone. I stopped chasing after it and started walking in a direction, slowly but surely. Everyone has their own music. I imagine life as a big orchestra. Someone is playing a violin, playing a piano softly. Someone is pounding the drums. I perhaps am just playing a slow beat, but they all contribute to a rich harmony. When you find your own rhythm, you are no longer distracted by the noise around you. You hear more clearly the call from within, and you walk, not hurry, not forced, not lost. You have the right to choose your own rhythm of life. No one can decide for you how to live your life. No one has the right to force you to follow a common formula for success. Your life is a blank page, and the pen is in your hand. So, write your journey in your own handwriting. Even if it is slow, even if it is different, even if it is sometimes scripted, as long as it is true. Conclusion. Finding your own rhythm is a journey that is both gentle and profound. It's not about getting it right, it's about feeling right with yourself. Because only when you live in the rhythm of your heart will you find that happiness doesn't come from the destination, it comes from every step along the way. The benefits of self-acceptance. When the pressure is gone, peace returns.
You remember waking up in the morning with the visual heaviness in my head.
No more voice in my head telling you need to do more, faster, better. Instead, I just exhale. We live in a world where everything is measured by speed and performance. But when I learned to accept my own pace, I was freed from the invisible shackles of comparison and expectation. No more trying to keep up with my peers. No more feeling guilty when I took a break. I learned that true peace comes when you let go of the pressure to be the version of yourself that others expect of you. And you know what? When the pressure is off, my mind is less chaotic. I sleep better. I laugh more. And I start to enjoy the moment, instead of counting the days to the finish line. Confidence comes from within, not from outside validation. I used to think that confidence meant being good, being outstanding, and making others respect you. But then I realized, lasting confidence doesn't come from the eyes of others, but from knowing who you are and still loving yourself. When I accepted myself, both my strengths and my weaknesses, I no longer needed to force myself. I didn't need to prove anything. I didn't need to be someone else. I felt I was enough. And from there, I had the real motivation to move forward, not because I wanted to be recognized, but because I wanted to be true to myself. I dared to try, dared to be wrong, dared to start over, because I was no longer afraid of being judged. I understood that every step I took, even if it was awkward, was valuable. True love begins with honesty. One thing I didn't expect when I learned to accept myself was that my relationships began to change. From superficial small talk, I began to have deeper connections because I stopped playing a role. I dared to say how I felt. I dared to share my most vulnerable parts. And miraculously, when I dared to be honest, others opened up. Authenticity attracts authenticity. Kindness attracts kindness. I didn't need to chase after love. I just needed to be myself, and the people who truly like me stayed. Self-acceptance doesn't make us weak, it makes us stronger. Many people fear that if they accept themselves too soon, they will stop trying. But that's not true. When you accept yourself, you don't stop, you just stop torturing yourself. I still have goals. I still want to improve. But I move forward not out of fear, but out of love. Not out of pressure, but out of passion. It's a quiet but steadfast strength, the kind of strength that only comes when you stop fighting yourself. You are your own best friend. Before, I was always looking for someone to understand me, to accompany me, to share the burden. But after the journey of learning to accept myself, I realized the person who will always be with me, from the beginning to the end of the journey, is me. And if I can't embrace myself, who will? When I learned to be a good friend to myself, to listen, to encourage, to forgive, I found my heart much more stable. No matter how life changes, I know I always have a place to return to, this heart. Conclusion. Living authentically is the greatest reward. Self-acceptance does more than just reduce stress, increase confidence, or improve relationships. It brings something much bigger, a return to yourself. When you are authentic, you are free. When you are authentic, you are at ease. When you are authentic, you attract what is right for you, not because you are trying to be loved, but because you have loved yourself first.
Living a full life.
The journey is yours, unique and precious. I used to think happiness was a destination. One day, when everything was stable, I would feel complete. But then, after many twists and turns and failures, I understood. Happiness is not in the destination, but in the way we walk every day. Your life is not like anyone else's. The path you take, no matter how winding or bumpy, has a reason to exist.
No one can life for you. No one understands ever emotion, ever pain, ever little ray of hope in your heart.
And that's why, only you can write your story in the most authentic, most unique way. Don't trade authenticity for recognition. Don't let imposed stereotypes prevent you from living your true self. You have the right to slow down. You have the right to change. You have the right to make mistakes. And you have the right to start over, as many times as you want. Every victory, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. I used to ignore so many small milestones in my journey, just because they weren't big enough. But then I realized, every step forward, even just one, deserves to be recognized. The day you dare to say no to something that makes you tired. The day you dare to say no. The day you forgive yourself.
The day you allow yourself to rest without feeling guilty.
All of these are silent victories, and extremely valuable. Because you are no longer fighting yourself. You are learning to walk with yourself. Celebrate the days when you are strong. And be grateful for the days when you are weak. Because both are an indispensable part of the journey of maturity. Scratches are part of the beauty too. I once read a quote that I will never forget: a strong person is not someone who has never been broken, but someone who has fallen to the bottom, and still chooses to move on, every day. You don't have to be perfect to be lovable, to be worthy, to be accepted. You just have to be yourself, with all that you were, are, and will be. Every crack in your soul is proof that you have lived, felt, and overcome. And sometimes, it is those cracks that the light can enter.
Self-acceptance, a never-ending,
yet fruitful journey. I won't lie to you and say that after learning to accept yourself, things will always be easy. There will still be days when you doubt. There will still be that little voice in your head that asks,
amigo genug?
But the difference is, now you have the patience to not give up.
The compassion to embrace yourself.
The maturity to keep going, even when your legs are shaking. Self-acceptance is not a destination. It's a journey, every day, every breath. And every step you take is a reminder that you are alive, alive, alive.
The last whisper. Life at your own pace.
If you forget everything I've shared, I just want you to remember one thing. You don't have to run a race. You don't have to be someone else. You just have to be true to yourself, and live each day at a pace that makes you feel at peace.
Be gentle with yourself.
Be patient with your journey. And trust that life is always waiting for you, not when you become better, but when you become yourself. Your journey, your pace. Every step, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your best self.